Awesome, awesome, awesome. More people are joining the call as we move forward. But how's everybody doing today?
I'm doing great. I don't know about everybody else.
Yeah. Good.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Good, good.
Great day.
Woo.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Yeah, everybody's coming in now. Glad everybody is doing amazing today. So yeah, guys, today Ed is going to be presenting again. We're going to pick up where we left off last time. He got a lot more things put together for you guys today as far as land acquisition and as far as, more specifically, he's also going to touch on the topic of the affordable housing and grants and stuff like that.
Yep.
Because I know, that's super important to everybody here in the community, especially if you're trying to dive into the ADUs. Um,
Yep.
that's really, really important. So awesome. So I'm gonna let you take it away, Ed. I don't really have much to say today. I'm gonna kind of just fall back and let you take it away from here.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Julius. Yeah, I'm happy to talk to everyone here, and I'm glad you're sharing your audience with me. I really appreciate it. It's an honor, man. How's everybody doing today?
Excellent, man. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you too, man. Um, how many people do we have on the call from last time? Got one so far. Okay, good. Well, so far, I think where we left off at was basically, is this a business that you can do from home? This land acquisition business? The answer is yes. This is probably the easiest real estate route you could take in the industry. Well, in 2025, that is. It's becoming more and more popular because properties are becoming harder and harder to deal with, right? So, land acquisition is probably the simplest way to ease your way into making 6 to 7 figure profits on real estate deals. And we're talking about real estate with no structure. So this is plain land, right? So when we're talking about plain land, we're not talking about headaches with buildings or anything like that, unless you get into the development side, right? And the development side, there's a lot of routes you can take. Like Julius was mentioning about the affordable housing, that's one route you could definitely take, and there's funding grants for that. And the way those work, those are a little bit special because you have to be in specific areas that allow for affordable housing developments. And to be quite frank, all the developers are after that type of land. So if you're doing land acquisition and you're basically in the position to where you can build affordable housing structures on that piece of land, then I mean you just fell into a gold mine because you're going to have developers throwing money at you left and right, just offering you numbers just off the rail. I mean, we're talking about millions of dollars for pieces of land that were worth nothing last year because there are some cities and there are some counties that basically last year weren't approved for that, and this year have been approved. So it's kind of like a rotation. They rotate where it's allowed, if that makes sense. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, it does. Yep.
Yeah. So, like for example, like Atlanta, if Atlanta is becoming a little bit crowded, so they don't want too many cranes going up. So what they do is they branch out to Metro Atlanta areas. So right now we're working on a piece of property in Conyers. It's only 5 acres, but it got approved for 80 units. So we're talking to the city and the county about tax credits. Tax credits basically means it's somewhat correlated with the affordable housing. They give you tax credits towards the project, which means for the first 10 years you pay zero tax because you are joining an affordable housing program for the structure. So if you have an apartment building on that land and developers invest with you, and you go vertical, which means you build that apartment complex with the developers. Let me actually backtrack a little bit. So let's say you go find a piece of land, right? And that piece of land is qualified for affordable housing. Well, all you have to do is basically get in touch with a local real estate agent. And this is a hack, by the way. You contact a real estate agent and you list that land, right? And you list that land for sale or open to negotiation in the special remarks in that listing with the real estate agent. What that real estate agent does is basically they bring you leads or developers interested, and they're hot leads too, because these people are ready to buy or invest with you. So they'll either tell you, hey, we want that land sold to us and we'll pay you a premium, or you can come in as an equity partner, meaning you have your land into the deal and you'll make 25% of the profits from this deal, right? So there's a lot of ways you can go about that, but the point is land that's qualified for affordable housing is a jackpot, because you can sell the tax credits, which is a whole nother thing that we can talk about. And you can also sell the land. So, with affordable housing, it's very attractive because there's so many benefits and incentives with it, long term and upfront. Uh, the biggest incentive up front is if you sell that land for a premium to a developer and you're out the deal, you're making tons of money. I mean, if you bought that land, or if you even have it under contract, I believe in controlling the land rather than buying the land. So I recommend, if you ever go into land acquisition, you try to fall into the realm of putting land under contract for long periods of time so that you can find a developer to flip it to, right? And that's how I really started off, because I really didn't have any money at the beginning how to get into these type of deals, because they're quite big. I mean, you're talking about multiple single family homes if it's a big lot, or if it's a gigantic lot with like 10, 20 acres. You're talking about an apartment complex. It's not something that a first time real estate investor can handle. It's just there's no funds to inject in that. The only person that can inject any funds in that type of project is a developer. So you really have to have a substantial amount of funds. Does that make sense so far? Does anybody have questions on that? Because
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
big topic. It's a money machine. That topic is a money machine. I'll tell you that. We look for that type of land all the way.
So yeah, I was gonna say, basically what we look for is we look to find the landowners that we can joint venture with a lot of the time, because it reduces the cost of acquisition of getting the land, and then you can just build the ADUs and split the profits with that landowner, whether it be a church or nonprofit or a family. That's one way you can go about this potentially without having to buy your own land, I think. And then I would add that in your course if not already. And then I would also add in there, you may have already, but the grants, like you said, the land, there's certain land that the municipalities sell for like super cheap,
Right.
because it's either a non-conforming lot or they
Right.
just want a particular use case on it. So like affordable housing. hmm
Yeah.
So we
Exactly.
Yep. So we have some of our people who actively, like DJ and Mike Carson doing a great job of this, actively reaching out to land banks and trying to understand what land is available. But another thing that I recommend is people reaching out to nonprofits, reaching out to churches, and just floating the idea, especially ones that have done anything related to housing in the past, and they
Mhm.
know they have a demand for the units, and that just makes it easier to get the financing and everything. And you're leading them on the strategy, and we provide the ADUs. Our company provides the ADUs, and we also provide the financing, some of the financing, depending on we do our best to get the financing as well. So one thing that I had a question of your traditional model is, if people are acquiring the land, how can and they have to pay the mortgage on that? Would they be able to build a let's say, single family home in an ADU, or let's say two ADUs, because it's a non-conforming lot, or it's a lot that you can make more out of two ADUs than one home, and you can't fit two homes on it or something like that. Does that situation happen? And in case, how would people be able to finance it if they're also paying the mortgage for the land? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So my strategy is more towards having the land locked under contract for a long due diligence period while you're seeking developers and adding value to the land. So what that means in basic terms is you're putting a piece of land under contract that's been on the MLS for a long period of time, just because of the owner wanted a premium on the lot, but it's not paper ready for development. So our job is, and what I try to put together in this course is basically you having that land under contract, and you have an architect and the zoning right put together on paper to basically sell to a developer for a premium. So that's what we're going after. We're trying to have little to no money out of pocket for the actual land itself. So the only thing you'll be investing in is the actual paper that you're putting together, the brochure, the drawings for what structure can be stabilized on that piece of land to pass on to the developer, because developers are looking for lots that are approved for development, right? So that's what I go after, because I don't want to put any money into the land, because I go after multiple deals per month, right?
Got it.
So, but
Okay.
if you're trying to acquire land, how can you withstand the mortgage? And what was your other question?
No, I think that you kind of answered the question because if you're not having to pay a mortgage, you're just having it under contract like a 90 or 60 or 6 month MOU for you to go out and try to essentially we just rezone the land and help them to get it sold.
Correct. You're adding value to the land. So this guy that owns this piece of land, he has it on the MLS or for sale by owner. It doesn't matter which. It's just a lot for sale, right? It's in a good area, but the developer just doesn't have time to go after that lot, um, divide it up, see if it can be approved for development. Some do, but most don't, because they're already working on projects. They're looking for projects that are ready for that type of structure to be stabilized. So that's a strategy that we want to use, is putting those lots under long due diligence periods and promising the landowner that you can get them that amount that they're asking for, because most of the time it's doable, but just not in the current status it's in, because the current status it's in is basically it's raw land. It's not ready for anything. It's not There's not a pre-approval by the city or the county. So if you've done all the legwork to get a pre-approval or get the potential you don't even have to sometimes change the zoning. You can have the potential zoning approvals or even pre-approvals on paper or email or in a letter from the county to have included in your brochure with the land when you sell it off to the developer. So you try to get as much information as possible and add as much value to the land as possible for the developer to purchase it at a premium. So back to the asking price on the land that we were talking about at the beginning is, let's say the landowner's asking for 200,000 for the lot, and it's outrageous because there's nothing on that raw land that makes it worth 200,000. But if you get it paper ready and it looks nice and on a silver platter to develop on for a developer, he could probably give you 400,000. But your job is to go to the landowner and talk to him about, hey, we can get you close to 200,000. Try to meet him between 150 to 200, because obviously whatever is excess of the 200, you're pocketing that. So you want to negotiate as much as possible, but you want to make them feel comfortable with putting that long due diligence on paper with you. So you have to get them close to the asking price. So that's the key to that. So you have to satisfy both ends. That makes sense.
Okay, wow. So do they ever, have a problem with that you're taking the surplus? And how do you deal
No,
with that?
no, because at the end of the day, so we're going after, the answer is no.
Hmm.
None of their business, because you're doing a double closing. I mean, you're having a second contract. You're under contract with the developer. You're having a separate contract than the contract you have with the landowner. Does that make
Okay,
sense? You close
got
it
it.
the same day, so it's zero money out of pocket for the land. The developer and the landowner are coming to the closing table. Everybody with their attorneys, and that transaction is just happening all at once. So he's paying you, you're paying the landowner, and you're zero money out of pocket, and you're walking away with the profit. So that's how
Okay.
that works.
Okay. Can I go back to the genesis of your scenario?
Yeah.
So if I know a company and they actually are a land bank company, let's say
Mhm.
they have hundreds of thousands, literally, of land. If I approach them
Hundreds
and
of
I do
thousands
the
of acres. Is that what you mean?
acres of land,
Uh-huh.
different corridors, different areas, different cities. So if I approach them and I already know from doing my due diligence what a city wants to put to put in that land as their master plan, then contracting with that land owner, what's the process to do that to be able to then work to find someone that's going to build on it? If I'm making sense based on what I believe you said.
Yeah, you're asking how to package it and pass it
Yes.
on to a developer.
Well, first, how do I approach the person owning the property to say, I want to, you use the word contract for the property? Clarify that first.
Yeah, if it's a for sale by owner, you put it under contract and you try to shoot for the stars and get them their asking price or somewhere around it, because that's their goal. They want the asking price.
Okay.
Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what you want to do. You want to promise them that you can get them close to that number. But at the end of but remember, you have to have that contract solidified with an exact number. So if they're
Correct.
asking, if you talk about hundreds of thousands of acres, let's say that the
But they got it broken into lots. There's
okay,
2 acres, there's 80 acres, there's
yeah,
20 acres. I mean, it's all broken up depending on the location.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, just put it under contract, close to their asking price. In that due diligence period, you're talking to the city, you're talking to the county, you're talking
Right.
to architects and see what's possible on that land.
Right.
If he has any soil tests to see even the land, if the land is even buildable, like, right, is
Right.
the dirt good, right? If
Right.
we're talking about hundreds of thousands of acres and the dirt is all bad and it's all
Right.
wetland and everything's just going to sink if you build it on there, then you just need to walk away, right?
Right. Right.
We had a very similar deal to this. It was in Menlo, Georgia, right? It was 150 acres. It wasn't thousands of acres or hundreds of acres. It was 150 acres. Uh, we passed on the deal because it was too large for us, but
Mhm.
the problem was most of the land was wetland and was on a slope,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Yeah, I've
Um,
experienced that. Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's tough, but some of the land was buildable. So
Mhm.
someone with huge capital that can inject that type of capital in that land, that's the only type of buyer that can qualify for that is
Right.
someone with big pockets. And
Right. Now
uh,
this land is broken up into, like, I think the smallest
parcels.
one is like 2.5 acres. It's broken up into parcels and it's in different cities. I'm saying the cumulative amount of land this land company has is in the 300,000 range. They have along the freeway. They have it in a given city in the high desert. They have it by logistics airport. That's 80 acres. So they have it in lots in different areas. So my due diligence is to find out from that given community or city what their vision for that area is, so I know what kind of development they want. In order for
Yeah,
me to
Amo.
be in position to do that, I have to go to the landowner and
Yeah,
ask
definitely.
for a contract or to be contracted. So I'm asking to be contracted. That's like a document of agreement. And basically, what does the agreement say?
It has to be under due diligence. So you have to have a long due diligence period to find out if you can even get a pre-approval for, or what type of pre-approval you can get for what type of building you can stabilize on that.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah. So put it under contract. And that's what we teach in the course is basically you going through every single little step. And then we have these like 2 Zoom meetings, just like these question Q&As on, like, let's say you worked on it this week and the next week you accumulated a whole bunch of questions while you're under due diligence. You
Hmm.
be on the Zoom or you can reach out to us directly through email or call, and we answer all those questions. So it's kind of like the one-on-one mentoring, but
Okay.
it's more of like we're all together in a group. And
Hmm.
right now is actually the perfect time to get into something like this, because I just started this course because I used to do one-on-one as of 2 weeks ago, right?
Hmm.
Still
Hmm.
doing, but this course allows us to kind of get a broader audience and bring them in. But it's gonna become it's gonna get crowded to a point where we can't answer a lot of questions,
Right.
and have get bring a lot. Like right now I'm giving you almost 5-10 minutes to answer your questions. Sometimes you can't
Right.
do that when you have 50 to 100
Of
people.
course.
So
Of course. I
uh
appreciate it.
yeah, but yeah, it's just a process you have to go through. There's like every single real estate deal, right? You got to know, like, if you're going in a fix and flip, I mean, there's studs, there's sheetrock, there's plumbing, there's electrical, there's subfloors, there's floors. There's so many steps. Like you have a question about this, then another question pops up about that. So you have to have the proper guidance and the proper network to help you throughout the entire way. But I would start with putting it under contract and having a long due diligence, talk to the city and the county as to what can be pre-approved there. And they're going to actually let you know what steps you need to take in order to even get the pre-approval to build on that land. And then you find developers in that area to
Right.
sell it to.
Okay. What do you
But you might
call
you
a
might
long
fell,
term?
might have fell into a sweet spot there, because if you're talking about multiple parcels with that amount of land, and it's an upcoming area,
Hmm.
I mean, you can be the main guy for the next 5 years, just working on those parcels, just hitting them one by one by one every 2 to 3 months, right?
Hmm.
You
Yep.
just put one parcel under contract with a long due diligence period for 60 days. If it
Okay.
doesn't work next, because
Okay.
like I said, this lot might not be buildable, that lot might be buildable, etc.
Okay.
I
Okay.
would just make a comment. I think for the affordable housing for this,
Mhm.
it's I find that it might be difficult to sell because even if you get the pre-approvals, it may not be financially as attractive to all developers. So I think for affordable housing developers, even them sometimes, because they're constantly looking for money to build on projects they already have and land they already have access to, and they're always behind on money. They don't have enough money to build on the land they have access to. So
Hmm.
when you try to sell to affordable housing developers, many of them probably might like it, but might not actually buy it still just because of cash flow. They may not be, maybe they'll keep, not within your time period, maybe. So there's a risk with that. So what I mean, I personally recommend with land banks to use our model to tell them build single family homes with ADUs, and then
Hmm.
we get a huge commission on a portfolio of ADUs because homes are in high demand, so they
Right.
can build with however many homes on that property, but and they're going to have a higher return model because the land banks, they want to do affordable housing, right? Well, when you add the ADU, you can price it differently than the main home,
Hmm.
right? It just generates more income, and so what we're finding is they're super excited because it boosts the return without them having to gentrify the main home, and so they can get a similar yield as though that was like a $500,000 home, but it was a $300,000 home and a $200,000 ADU. So it's not an overly expensive home. And even the ADU provides new home ownership opportunity to a second family. So they're doubling their impact as a land bank. So you propose that to them, they're going to say, yeah, I got so many parcels of land that this can work with. Go and bring me, go bring me the finance. And then we can go do that. Our group does that.
Okay. Okay.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Yeah, and
But
it
just
also
brilliant
goes
too.
back to you're right, funding. Like if you can get that funding, then you should definitely go the route of stabilizing a structure or go the ADU route. Definitely. If you're if you're trying to go as little as capital as possible out of pocket, then you use a strategy of having it under contract, adding value to the land, and turning it over to a developer and selling it for a premium. So there, both of those routes are great. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, you're welcome, man. That gentleman knows what he's talking about. His model is awesome too. It works. It's very profitable. Um, so and I try to focus on the things that are easier for us to do because most of the audience, they have a job or they have a business. So, a common question is like, can you do it from home? You can do it from home, like this model, this LDP model, land development potential, right? So with this LDP model, like you could do it from home. Um, the overhead is very low, if any, because you have it under contract and you're flipping it to a developer. He's buying it for a premium while you're qualifying it for certain type of structures to be built on it. Um, it's not a very competitive market. Like the other gentleman was saying, everybody's going after stabilized structures and they're looking to inject their money into their own projects or their own buildings to fix and refinance or fix and flip, etc. But that was a good question. How do you approach the seller? Once you find out who it is? It's just very simple. You just make them feel good about the price that they're asking for, and you try to get as close as possible to that number. And everybody knows this is business. Nothing is promised, right? You can only put in your efforts and try to help them get accomplish that number they're asking for the listing price, and whatever you can get from the developer and pocket excess of what he's asking for the land. That's great, But that's what we're going after. Little to no money out of pocket. Anybody have questions on anything that we have talked about so far? Because we covered a lot, and that was quick.
Is the 60 days considered the long time as opposed to a 90 or 120? Is 60 days considered the standard
No, the
for the
bigger the deal,
long-term
the
contract?
longer. Yeah, the bigger the deal, the longer the due diligence. So if we're talking about 5 acres, I would do 60 days. If we're talking about, 30, 40 acres, I would do 6 months. So it's just harder to get approved once it's a bigger deal.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Uh, and I want to cover the topic of like how long this takes. This process usually takes about 30 to 90 days, right? If it's zoned right and the landowner was going to build a house and he already has an architectural drawing and he was going to build it, everything's ready, but he just couldn't do it and he needs the cash now, then you put it under contract for a short due diligence period because everything's ready and it's developable, and you tell him it's going to be a cash deal. Sometimes you can do deals within 14 to 30 days. So you put that short due diligence period and then you find out what developer in the area is popular and you flip it to them basically. So that's a deal that you can close on quite quickly. So that's an example of a quick deal right there. I want to cover another topic here. Anybody else have any specific questions? Anybody else trying to make some money in real estate without putting any money in from their pockets into the deal? Does that interest anyone? Okay. So I got a question here from someone asking me how long will it take me to learn something like this? It's quite quick because once you put your first piece of land under contract, it's go time. Because here's the thing, it's a learning process, right? So you're contacting the city, you're finding out if it's developable, you're contacting architects to make a drawing and see if a building can go on there and what type of structure can go on there. You're contacting soil scientists to test the soil and see if it's buildable. So as you're doing all this, you're getting all these contacts in your book and you're having all these conversations with our assistants and you're going through these courses and you're just learning everything and you're doing it all at once. So it's quite quick. I mean, you learn it quick. It's like you're building a foundation for getting into these land deals, eventually do them on your own, because that's what's going to end up happening. You're going to end up being able to do these land deals on your own. And it's quite simple. It really is once you learn it. Once you get the hang of it, it's quite simple. And another question that I get a lot is how do you value the land without comparables, right? That's a tricky one because you really have to go back to, what's built around that land, and you basically have to do the math on what and how the developers profited on their past deals, right? Within that year, usually. And, you just have to have the right math done. And that we also teach that in the course. Uh, Another question that we get is, what typical terms do we use in structuring these deals? So in the course, we also provide contracts and other agreements that you can have in place. So we give those to you, help you out with that. How long we take to close a deal? The bigger the deal, the longer it takes to close, depending on what documents are ready, and if the pre-approval is in place. Yeah, this is a model that can be taught quite quickly because it's easy to learn, and there's not a lot of there's no construction involved. So that's usually what takes time, is learning that part of the deal, is the construction. Let me see here. Does anybody have any questions? I'm gonna try to flip the camera while I get the questions pouring in here real quick. Let's see. Anybody want to throw a question at me while I'm fixing this?
Yeah, I think Randy had a question in the chat. I don't know if you want to come on, Randy, and ask it.
Yeah. How do we find a good developer within a certain area? Good question. Yeah. Um, so basically there's a trick for that. You can go on Zillow and contact the agents that sold or selling the homes in the area, and they usually can tell you what developer was for that project. So they'll tell you, and they usually can offer that developer to you, and you can sell them the lot that you have under contract. That's a tip right there, and it's a trick. It's actually a very good one. That's usually the quickest way to do it. Okay, we got America Harden. I think America was with us last time. How long is the course? Do you take the course on your own time, or is it scheduled time for the course? No, you can take your time with it because you want to take your time with it too. So we don't time it. I mean, it doesn't time out. You have access to it. It's unlimited access, and basically we add more value to the course as time goes by. So sometimes laws change, and funding changes every year. So we replace information, or we add information sometimes depending on what's going on in the market. So yeah, how long is it? It's right now it's about 35 modules. You don't have to worry about finishing all those modules in 1 week or 1 month. What you want to do is you want to break them off into uh, twos and threes. So you want to take the first two modules, or 3 or 4 modules for that month, and focus on those and take action. So if you have some modules telling you what to do, and how to go after certain steps, you want to start, diving into that so that you can actually feel that you're actually accomplishing what you're being taught, right? Like we talk about zoning, we talk about access, like the land has access to a public right of way. So you want to know what right of way you have on the street. Zoning, if it needs to be rezoned, or can it be rezoned for development? Is there public sewer and water is nearby? We talk about overlays like environmental, floodplain, wetlands, steep slopes, etc. So we talk about all that. Topography. We guide you through free resources to use to get this information kind of put together. And there's also paid sources, and those paid resources are they just get you there faster. When you pay a third party to do something for you. But a lot of the services that you can use to get these deals approved and ready to build on, there's free resources everywhere you can use to get these deals approved for development. But once you've got a good piece of dirt with development potential, I mean, then you can move to using like the profit projector that we include in the course too. So you want to find out, like the gentleman asked, I mean, what the profit is and if it's going to make sense for the developer. Because when you talk to the developer, you're going to start talking numbers. You're going to start needing to understand what you're talking about. You have to know what's going on, right? And if you're not a good talker, you can always say, hey, I sent it to you in an email. Check it out. Let me know if you have any questions. And if you can't answer those questions, you save them for us, right? And we can help you answer those questions. So we'll include that in there too. Um, you know, and there's a lot of myths in this land acquisition business, which is, competition. Um, like a lot of people are saying like, there's no way I can compete with those that have been in the industry for a long time. It's a big myth because most of these people that been in this industry for a long time, they're just sipping through deals and they're just focusing on buildable lots that are already in front of them, and they have all this access to these other investors that are not, and these investors are just focused on making money, not looking for lots. So there's not really a lot of competition. You're doing the legwork for big profits, and these big profits to them aren't really considered big. They're focusing on tens of millions. You're focusing on hundreds of thousands. So these developers are not really your competition.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Like with these with land acquisition, the paydays are big because the problem is big, right? Developers, they want, this is a problem for them. They want good lots. They want lots that they can go and build on because that's what they do. They have crews that they don't want to quit on them. They want to give them a lot of work and keep them busy all the time. Because if they don't give them work, they're just going to work for somewhere else, for someone else. They got
Or their
funds they
funding
got to
would dry
use.
up
They
if
have
they don't
access
move
to.
fast enough.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying or their funding would dry up if they're not fast enough.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah, and because, like you were saying, and because of the housing shortage, like we have a huge demand from the home builders of America, and it's just a matter of finding the land and getting it approved for development. Yeah, for sure. Like what's really needed, and we're gonna end it with this for like this LDP model, land development potential model. Um, you know, all you need is computer and internet, really. You know, uh, you can utilize all the free resources we provide to you, but you got to commit some hours also throughout the week to get these deals executed. And I would say 5 to 10 hours a week is enough. If you're trying to go all the way in, and like the other gentleman, if he has like multiple parcels, that'll probably be a full-time job for him. He'll probably do this all the way. If he starts actually taking action on these steps that we're going to give him and within the course. So it can become a full-time job, but if you're on your first deal, and it doesn't really take a lot of time, you just got to follow all the steps. Um, you know, with this program, like a lot of people will try to ask, how much course costs and if it's worth it, and if they're going to get their money out of it. Just to put this in perspective, what instill or what you invest in this course is going to be tenfold, 20-fold, 30-fold, right? It's nothing compared to what you're going to make. I mean, this is something you're going to learn and keep forever. This isn't something that it's going to expire at the end of this year or next year, or land has been around forever. And at the end of the day, we add more information and replace information if it's been updated in the market or out there with banks, etc. So I would say, this is a really good opportunity for everyone. And right now, we're just launching this course, and these calls I mean, are they going to be filled with people that are like this model? When you have models with zero little money out of pocket and you're just putting effort and you use your brain, these models start becoming popular because most new investors or people interested in real estate, they don't have a lot of capital, so they're trying to make money without investing to start with, and so they leverage information, credit, etc. So this is a perfect time. We'd be on your side, one on one almost with this new course launch. So
I'm
that's
curious
all
to
I
know
have
what
for
you would
today.
think of if you would. Oh, I have a question. One last question.
Yeah.
Curious to know if you would take a quick glance at our website and let me know if what you think land acquisition as a potential business model could be, either to fit into our current business model, like more thoughts on kind of what we were talking about today, if there's more integration there, first of all, and then secondly, just your direct exact model, if it could be applicable to what we're doing, which is obviously we're trying to do bigger numbers, but at the same time, like you said, if there's, we're also in contact with many land banks with many parcels, right? So maybe we do part of this strategy for some of their stuff, and then we focus on our proprietary stuff with their other stuff, right? So I'm very interested. You just take 5 minutes for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot over your information and we can instill it in there. I don't see why that can, if it that can only help. You know what I mean? That can only add value. And this is what this is all about, is adding value to um, the strategy that we're going after, and the lots and the acquisitions, the land acquisition. So if it adds value, yeah, of course. And I don't know if it's okay for Julius. I want everybody to get familiar with like some of the content that I put up to as to what I do. If it's okay with Julius, I can drop my Instagram handle just so people can see what we actually do there, and what the course is. There's a lot of footage that we take for our projects, so I might drop it in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uh,
So you can go ahead and drop your Instagram in the chat.
yeah, so people can probably kind of see more of what we do rather than just hear it, and you know, so that'll give you a very good idea. But
Yeah, and
I
I would
think
say that part of this, I don't know if Julius ever told you, was part of this was I was encouraging him early in the year to find someone to create a land acquisition course with. It's just something that hit my spirit that I think the market was needing.
Mhm.
And so to find you was extremely faithful, brother. So I will say that we're going to reconnect.
Awesome, man. Yeah, definitely. I look forward to it, man. I appreciate you. I mean, you definitely added a lot of value to today's call, and I could see us doing a lot of things together, man. And I
Right.
appreciate everyone that was on here. I mean, we got great people on here. I think everybody got some information that they can think on and walk away with, and ponder on until our next call. But Julius, we appreciate you bringing it to your audience to us, and let us share this with them.
110%, man. So it's what it's all about, So definitely I'm gonna connect us three, me and you are finding together and see how we can continue helping people accomplish the goals that they need to accomplish. So
Yeah, this is a great circle. It's definitely a powerful network, because once you have the funding, and I got the land acquisition information, and then the gentleman here has the rest of the information for the ADUs and how to get everything else together. I mean, what else can someone ask for? I mean, that's just everything on a silver platter. So this is like, this stuff didn't exist back then. I mean, this is all available to everyone right here. So um, I don't
That's
think
right.
anybody
And
else has any more questions.
I have the ADUs directly as well. So that helps as well.
Very much so. Absolutely. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
yeah, brothers. Yeah, brother. So we definitely, me and you are finally gonna connect. So you can we can all fill in everything that we're missing with each other.
Roger that, my friend.
Yeah, I think we have it. We have everything. Yeah. All right. We're looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks for your time, everyone. And Julius, the floor is
Thank you.
yours.
Yeah, guys. So thanks everybody for joining the call today. Thank you as well, Ed, for coming on and taking the time out of your day to do what it is that you're doing. At the end of the day,
Pleasure is mine.
I love connecting with brothers like you and Ifani because we all got the same goal, which is to help
Yep.
as many individuals as possible. Yeah, especially the individuals that want the help. Like we'll bring it to you, but you got to meet us halfway as well. So definitely
Absolutely.
everybody who everybody's that's on the call tonight, that's thinking about, because this is something that having the skill set is very important because at the end of the day, this is knowledge that you're going to have forever. You can pass it down to your kids as well. And this is something, once you have the knowledge and you know how to make money from it, it sticks, right? It sticks. You can really never go broke if you just acquired a lot of skill sets. So everybody that's on this call, man, take full advantage of what we're trying to present to you guys. Trust me, it is 110% worth it, having the knowledge, the understanding, and it's gonna help you in every other area of your life. So, don't just take these calls lightly. Take advantage. Other than that, I'll catch you guys on the next Monday call. So, hey, matter of fact, before we go,
Yeah.
Ed,
Yes,
are you
sir.
trying to come back next Monday?
If they want me to.
What do you guys think?
If not, I'll just keep making all this money on my own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely come
Absolutely.
back.
Yeah, definitely come
Absolutely.
back.
Yeah, I'll come back and drop some gems. Why not, man? I'll do it.
Yes.
Sure. For sure, for sure. So yes, brother, we really, really appreciate you. You see, everybody is paying attention, and hopefully they're soaking in the knowledge as well. So definitely, man, with thanks everybody for joining. Thank you again for presenting, Ed. Thanks to Afani for chipping in and adding more value, and we'll catch you guys on the next Monday call.
Thank you, man.
Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Later,
Take
guys.
care, guys. See
All right.
y'all.